that photo that shocked us all. The moment a police horse was allegedly struck by a protester during Sydney's so-called freedom protest.
Senior Constable Patrick Condon was riding to Brook, and he joins us now alongside Commander of the Mounted Unit, Michael Rochester. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, is that Tobruk you've got with us there too?
It is, that's right.
Oh, the horse of the moment. How is he? We didn't realise he was joining us this morning.
He's well.
Excellent. Patrick, can you just describe to us what it was like to be amongst those scenes over the weekend?
A little bit hectic, but yeah, that's one way to put it, hectic, to sum it up.
What was it like? Can you give us an idea of what it was like to be in the throng and from the start to the finish, and also to have that proximity to such anger?
While it was going on, my focus was just what was happening in front of me right at the moment.
Yeah.
At the time, we weren't really reflecting on what was actually occurring. We're just reacting with what was in front of you.
And as you say, like when you're in that moment, I guess that's all you're focused on. But having had time to think about it now, for you and other officers, how difficult is it to see these people jeopardise not only their own health, but the health of yourself, of the other officers, and you know, obviously, as we know, they could go home and spread it to their families?
Oh, it's very disappointing, like majority of the community. But on the day, we were just doing what we were trained to do. And in reflection, that's also, we look back and think, right, that's what we've been taught to do. All these years learning what our role is in those situations, and that's really what we're reflecting on.
Look, I know it must have been very hard at times. There is that now iconic photo of Tobruk being allegedly hit. I mean, when someone or a member of the community tries to hurt yourself or your horse, how does that make you feel?
Oh yes, in reflection on Saturday night, of course, it's, once the adrenaline had all gone, you do get a bit emotional.
Oh, it takes a toll, doesn't it?
But it does.
Good on you.
That's what.
Look, Michael, this is your department. Have there been many situations as tense and serious as this over the years? I know you trained for this, but it seemed to escalate on over the weekend. You're trained for this kind of thing. What were your thoughts about it over the weekend?
Yeah, obviously we were very disappointed in the behaviour of the general public coming out and disobeying the public health order.
Yeah.
You know, not to mention obviously extremely disappointed in the alleged behaviour of the two males who have been charged.
So how do you feel about the job that your officers and the horses did at the weekend?
No, I think everybody performed exceptionally well on the weekend under very trying circumstances. It's quite a high-intensity environment for the horses, not to mention the police officers, and combined they made an outstanding team, not only the riders and the horses, but in support of the other police dealing with the protest on the weekend.
Look, I grew up with horses with my auntie in Cairns, and I know how skitty they can get around even kind of minor behaviour. I thought you guys, you and all the cops over the weekend were exceptional under pressure, and your horses were exceptional under pressure, given the circumstances. I mean, it was an incredible work that you all did. Do you feel proud?
Oh, very proud of the work they did. I mean, they undergo significant amounts of training. You know, Tobruk's a 13-year-old thoroughbred who this was actually his first protest in that first time in that environment. And we're very proud of not only the way Patrick handled him, but certainly the way Tobruk handled himself in that, as well as all the horses and the other officers on the day.
I mean, we're just looking at the vision there with that protester sort of allegedly punching the horse. I mean, it's really tough to watch. And I mean, we know that the police were monitoring Facebook sites. You knew there was going to be a big crowd. Did you expect what you saw on Saturday, or was that an escalation in violence?
I think there was definitely an escalation in violence and quite unnecessary in all the aspects of it. You know, the throwing of the projectiles at the officers and particularly the horses and the riders. You know, that they're doing the best they can to manage the crowds and facilitate what was going on. And it was a shame that it degenerated into that level of violence.
It was disgusting. I mean,
Yeah.
we were appalled. And look, I mean, that photo said it all of how things disintegrated and how someone could even do that to a horse. It is one thing, but you had police officers who attacked and projectiles thrown at cops, just doing the right thing. Patrick, how are you feeling now? And how's Tobruk?
Oh, we're both fine, thanks, Karl.
Yeah.
You got very spoiled the last 2 days, of course, as they all did.
Well, you've got to love that, don't you? That, you know, there was some horrible behaviour there on Saturday, but the community has responded. And has Tobruk put on a few kilos from all the carrots and chocolates he's been sent?
Yes, plenty of licorice, apples, carrots. But yeah, the support from the public, particularly yesterday, I patrolled out at Manly, and just overwhelming support. People walking up, offering their support.
Are you back on duty then?
Showing their disgust.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
yes.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us. We really appreciate it. Anything more that you'd like to share with the public?
No, just to thank you very much for all the thanks and the carrots and boxes of apples that we've had delivered.
Yeah.
You know, it's been an outstanding success. Thank you very much.
Good on
Yeah,
you.
well said.
I think I used to back Tobruk back in the day.
Nodding in agreement.
That's right. Carlos lost some money on me.
Good stuff.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
And to all the New South Wales police and Victorian police too, just an exceptional job. You're not only putting yourselves in the line of fire, but there's also this virus, and you're putting yourself out there. And if I was one of your family members, I would have been so angry and so upset. There was a bit of despair when we saw that over the weekend. Alex and I were talking about it. There was anger and frustration, and everyone's going through this. But there was despair that people would do that, would be so selfish, would put the lives and the health of officers in danger.
And also their own families. They go home to their own families. They've probably got elderly. You know, we know that this virus also kills the young. To have been so selfish was horrible to see.
And you literally had a 38-year-old dying in hospital.
At the same time.
So come on. I mean, that's a dark day. And I'm just so emotional about it and very angry.
Yeah. But look on the bright side, is that Tobruk got carrots and the community... the community response in that sense has been positive. So we'll focus on that, OK?
So are you saying send me carrots and chocolates? Because I don't need
Just carrots, don't send him chocolates, all right? Now...
Look, I'm not the only one who's angry about the protests over the weekend, it turns out. Small business owners in Sydney and Melbourne say if they lead to longer lockdowns, their entire livelihoods will be threatened by what happened over the weekend. Joining us now is Simon Wild and his partner Shani, owners of Moments Photography in Sydney, and Sophie Storen from Cook's Food in Melbourne. Good morning, guys. Thank you for being with us today. Simon, to you first of all, what was your reaction when you saw those protests in Sydney?
It was utter disbelief, to be fair, Karl. I think it was a realisation that we just knew that the 31st of July was not going to be coming out of lockdown. And listening to your broadcast just before, hearing mid-September, you know, that just increases my frustrations at what we saw over the weekend were just selfishness from a select few. And, you know, none of them were wearing masks. No one was social distancing. So, yeah, it was, it's heartbreaking.
You know what it's like? It's like these protesters, right, think they're the only people in the world who are frustrated and angry about the restrictions that have been placed on their life for their health benefits. They're not. They're not the only ones. We all feel it, right? Yeah,
no, and you're right there, Karl. It's we're all in the same boat. All this has done is just prolonged it for everybody else. Exactly.
Okay, Shani, what does this potentially mean? I mean, if it turns into a super spreading event, God help us. But what impact will this have on your business?
Honestly, we are approaching wedding season very soon, which is our spring and summer months. And we've had clients postpone their weddings from last year to the end of this year, which now might not even happen. And we feel for our clients, especially the ones who have their parents and their siblings overseas, and they haven't been able to see them in years, and that could potentially be delayed. And for us, I mean, we provide full refunds for all of our wedding clients who need to cancel because of COVID, and we end up wearing those losses financially.
Must be hard, huh?
No, absolutely.
Do you know what, these protesters, right? I mean, they turned up to court yesterday. It turns out the majority of these people who are going through courts are on government benefits. I mean, they should be stripped of government benefits if they go and protest like that with all the pressure that it places on the system. I'm going to go to Sophie. You've been in and out of lockdown 5 times now. 5 times. This must feel like a real slap in the face for you.
Yeah, it does. And I think that even though we had a smaller crowd in Melbourne, I think the effect in Sydney is going to trickle down to Melbourne. It feels inevitable. And it feels a little bit as though we are going to look at more lockdowns. Whether we come out tomorrow, you know, I don't feel overly confident that this won't happen again.
Yeah.
So, you know, we just feel like this just pushes us back further and further.
We know the pressures are on a federal level in terms of finances, but it does feel like we need JobKeeper to come back, even though the majority of the country, or at least geographically, is not in lockdown. These big population bases and the businesses inside those population bases probably need the support. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we definitely need more support, and I think that it needs to be scalable. You know, different businesses have different incomes.
Yeah.
Therefore, you know, if I've got 10 staff versus a business that's got 20 staff, then, you know, the assistance that we need is different. I'm not saying, you know, one size does not fit all.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty stressful when you're losing, you know, large quantities of money and then the government give you $2,000. But I guess, you know, we've been really intense on planning. So because of the last lockdown, we actually anticipated that we would have 0 income for June, July and August. Now, if it goes past August, then I have to have a whole nother set of plans in place. But that's pretty grim.
It is. And look, and you guys are the faces of many businesses out there this morning, hard-working Australians. So keep your head down and stay as strong as you can. But we're trying to do all we can in terms of getting support for you. Good on you. Thank you for being with us today. All the very best.
Thank you very much.
Ali.
Okay.